Alright, so we got how did the Loyalist chapters react to Primaris Marines? Right now, I'm live streaming on Twitch, man. If you guys are watching right now, go visit my Twitch right now. I know you're watching. Go visit it. And other than that, man, thank y'all so much for stopping by. Let's get right to it. Let's go.
G'day, guys and gal. The release of the Primaris Marines upon the setting was met with mixed response. A lot of people were happy to have Space Marine models that didn't look like they were suffering from an unfortunate combination of dwarfism and elephantitis, whilst others opposed the clean new look of the Space Marines as well as their reduction in individuality. Well, interestingly enough,
I'm gonna keep it real. So, shout out to Swiss, shout out to Dur, shout out to everybody, who watches me on Twitch. So, like I said, make sure you guys come visit me, visit me on Twitch. They actually told me that if I go to the Warhammer website, I can actually get like a free model by myself. Now, I don't know, what the model is, but bro, if I get like an actual good model, bro, I'm most likely gonna like paint it blue just because blue is like, my favorite color. So, I just thought that blue always looked good on like these Marines, and this is why I like the Ultramarines a lot. Not even just because I like Titus or G-Thug. I'm gonna be honest with you, I do love the color blue on these Marine stuff like that. So yeah.
In the actual setting, the Primaris were also met with a variety of reactions.
By the way, y'all, if I'm leaning back and forth like a left or right stick on the controller, I can't lie to you, bro. Yo, my stomach is doing backflips like Gabrielle Douglas.
Ranging from euphoric relief all the way down to outright hostility. A lot of that hostility came from other Loyalist Space Marine chapters, and it took a lot of ball breaking by Guilliman before Primaris were widely accepted by pretty much all chapters. Quick shout out to Mike Hunt. Thought you'd be clever there, mate. You know I'm Australian, right? I was hitting people with that one since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Space Marines that were just, straight up better than the ones my dad made, and Core was like, yes. Then G-Man was like, well, how'd you go, mate? And Core was like, pretty fucking well, brother. Hence the Guilliman's glee, Core showed off the Primaris Marines, 10,000 years in the making. These soldiers received extra gene seed beyond normal firstborn Astartes. They were also designed to be way less corruptible and have significantly less mutations as a result of spicy gene seed. A lot of people were kind of annoyed that someone other than the Emperor could improve upon his design, but think about it like this. The Emperor wasn't even the main designer behind the Astartes. Some bitch called Amana Astarte did. If she can make the Astartes in a couple years, then surely Call, one of the smartest beings in the galaxy, can improve upon them a bit within 10,000 years.
Yo, I don't know what type of junkyard they went to come up with the armor and stuff like that for these Astartes, bro, but they popping out, they're making Astartes like they making prime bottles, bro. It's really ridiculous.
Guilliman knew that it wouldn't be as simple as trying to tie a nice bowstring to each Astartes and then mailing them off to the various chapters. Many Space Marines were wary of Guilliman's return and were cautious that the Primaris Marines were basically all just a bunch of Ultramarines that were designed to replace all Firstborn Marines and overrun each chapter's culture. They also weren't sure if it was heresy or not to modify the Emperor's design. Like I said, it wasn't really the Emperor's design, but everyone in the galaxy thinks it was. The ways in which Guilliman got around this problem was firstly by having the Primaris Marines basically arrive to back up their parent chapter mid-battle. As the Great Rift had just opened, there was a shitload of battles going on. Nothing helps bond two groups more than one saving the other's ass. Not every chapter could be met during a battle, however. Hence, the most common way Guilliman connected Primaris to their respected chapters was to straight up visit the chapter in person and use his big, juicy, girthy,
Yo, Majorkill, if you say what I'm about to think you say, yo, Majorkill, I swear to God, bro, if you say it, I'm crashing out. I'll become a Z-tier menace to society if you say what I'm about to, say it, yo.
Primarch, charisma, to convince them to accept the new Marines. Guilliman did this for most of the major Space Marine chapters, whilst he sent various Custodes squads to deliver the Primaris to minor chapters. As the Custodes spoke with the Emperor's voice and acted with the Emperor's will, the Primaris had the Emperor's stamp of approval, making the Primaris acceptance rate really high.
These Custodes, like I said before, I think they got the best look in the game, bro. Look at the design on the helmet, the armor, and everything, with the red and blue.
Also, the Custodes flat out said that to reject the Primaris Marines would be to admit that you're a heretic, hence the Custodes would kill you. Solid diplomacy. So now we know the gist of how the Primaris were handed over, but how did each Space Marine chapter react? Well, a bit of a no-brainer, but the Ultramarines were stoked to get Primaris, more so because their daddy gave them a new toy more than anything else. Marnius Calgar was one of the first Space Marines to undergo the surgery to become a Primaris, so that should speak volume about the Ultramarines' opinion of them. The Fists were quick to accept the Primaris, but it was a bit hit and miss. Many Fists...
Oh, their armor is nasty looking. Not in a good way. I'm talking about in the bad way. I'm sorry, I'm not Brad Pitt, Michael B. Jordan or whatever, man, but man, this is ugly.
Welcome the new Primaris, and were impressed by their skills and girth. However, ugly. Quite a few veterans weren't too happy. They knew that Rogal and Guilliman didn't get along so well after the end of the Horus Heresy, and now to have these untested Marines walk in like they were hot shit, kinda rubbed a few of them the wrong way. An interesting note though, the Primaris Imperial Fists are technically more fisty than the firstborn Imperial Fist. That is because the Imperial Fist chapter was completely destroyed during the War of the Beast, and was rebuilt using Imperial Fist successor chapters. The Primaris Imperial Fist, however, were recruited and put into stasis before the War of the Beast, so technically their gene seed is more fisty. Makes sense? Good. As time has passed and the Primaris Imperial Fist have been tested in battle...
Yo, his whole colorway look like hot dog condiments. You got the relish right here, the mustard right here, you got the little bit of white stuff right here.
It no longer seems like the Imperial Fist veterans have any issues anymore. The Dark Angels approach their new Primaris in a very expected way, with complete and utter mistrust. I like the Dark Angels, but holy shit, their initial reaction was retarded. When Guilliman came to them, Azrael nearly blew up Guilliman's ship, because he thought the big G-Man was coming to fuck them up because of what happened with the Fallen 10,000 years earlier. Guilliman was like, hey guys, why are you all sweating so much? Doesn't matter, here is a shitload of Primaris, have fun. So the Dark Angels accepted the Primaris without incident, mostly because they were so worried about their secret getting out that the reality of just being given a new army was a much better outcome. However, they didn't trust the new Primaris Marines, and they tend to avoid inducting them into the inner circle or telling them about the Fallen. Over time, some Primaris have found out, and the Dark Angels have chilled out a little bit, but there's still this awkwardness between the Firstborn and Primaris Angels.
Yo, when you're a menace to society and you're a school threat, of course you're gonna be awkward. G-Thug had these dudes sweating bullets. Yo, they was sweating so bad, bro, you would think they played a game of 21 against LeBron James.
Some might call it a bit of a mutual distrust, but I like to think it's just a lot of sexual tension. So we've seen chapters love the Primaris, accept the Primaris, and kind of cop the Primaris. Were there any chapters that hated the Primaris? Yes, the Flesh Tearers. Gabriel Seth, the chapter master of the Flesh Tearers, is a ruthless, brutal man who sees the Black Rage as a strength instead of a weakness. He loves the raw, vicious culture of his chapter, hence he was disgusted with the arrival of the Primaris.
Close the entire nation. Close the entire nation, right? Yo, as a matter of fact, put this man in the same cell that El Chapo's in. Bro, 0% escapability. He said, yo, I love the Black Rage terror. I don't think it's a weakness. I don't think it's a bad thing. I love it. What?
Adlad even called them Ultramarines in red armor. Now Gabriel did end-
No. Don't do that. Do not do that. Ultramarines in red armor. Yo, what do you think this is? Yo, this ain't like a video game where the good guys are blue and the bad guys are red. No. You are a menace to society. You and your little blood, demon angels, whatever. Y'all are menaces to society. Y'all are Batman's greatest villains.
Accepting the Primaris because most of the Flesh
Speaking of Batman, I'm playing Batman Arkham Knight right now on Twitch. Make sure you guys, pull through, come through.
Ares and Blood Angels in general had died during the devastation of Baal, plus Guilliman hand-delivered the Primaris, but there is a scene which sums up Gabriel's opinion of the shiny new boys. Basically, a new Flesh Tearer Primaris Marine and Seth get into an argument. Seth calls the Primaris a pussy, so the Primaris calls Seth a midget, hence Seth did what any reasonable man would do. He beat the ever-living fuck out of the Primaris Marine to within an inch of his life.
Just because they called you short? Just because they said you can't ride most of the rides at an amusement park? Hey, not gonna lie to you, that's some real menace to society behavior, bro. Imagine like somebody called me short or a slur or whatever, like a short slur or whatever. Bro, and instead of me, brushing it off, or instead of me being like, man, you know what, bro, you big boned. Instead of me playing that, bro, yo, I just started crashing out on everybody. I started hitting people with all types of KFC combos and everything like that.
Overall, due to the Primaris' resistance to the Red Thirst and Black Rage, coupled with the fact that they weren't directly made by the Emperor, the Flesh Tearers looked down on them in disgust. On the flip side, the Blood Angels were very accepting of their new Primaris, with Dante even being disturbed by Gabriel's outright hostility towards them. How did it go with the Space Wolves? Well, the Space Wolves are actually more accepting than you would think, as long as those that they accept have proven themselves. Most of the new Space Wolf Primaris undertook the trials of Morkai, thereby genuinely establishing themselves as fully fledged Space Wolves. There was an interesting bit of lore that I think relates to the Space Wolves, but I could be wrong. But it goes something like this. The Space Wolves with their new Primaris were fighting against the forces of chaos, maybe it was Nurgle, and then the demons used some spooky wooky voodoo designed to break the morale of the Space Wolves. The Primaris are frozen in fear, but the Firstborn are able to handle it due to their experience. It was a cool bit of lore, as up until then, the Primaris seemed superior in every way. The Salamanders reacted much in the same way as the Space Wolves. They were happy to have them, but looked down on them due to their lack of culture and—
That's what we do, bum. If you're not up there with us, we look down on you. I love my Salamanders so much, bro. Good job, boys. Bro, if you're not up there with us, bro, in the culture or anything, bro, we're looking down on you like these. We're looking down on you. Like, what are we talking about? Salamanders. Great job, y'all.
Connection to Nocturne. However, Salamanders being absolute bros, combined with the shared joy of burning shit, meant that this uneasiness didn't last long. Now onto a spicy one, the Black Templars. The Black Templars are a bit of a wild card, and Guilliman knew this, so he went to High Marshal Helbrecht directly. Helbrecht was happy to see Guilliman, as to him, Guilliman was the son of his literal god. Helbrecht also accepted the Primaris without issue, probably because Guilliman was like, "These new Primaris will allow you to crusade harder and faster," to which Helbrecht responded by jizzing his pants. Helbrecht was also impressed by Guilliman. He originally thought he might be a bit of a douche with a stick up his ass, but that just wasn't the case. Guilliman was happy with how the meeting went, but he was a bit on the fact that Helbrecht and the Templars saw the Emperor as a god, and as such, Guilliman at least a demigod. The meeting also served to get the entire Black Templars chapter to stop chasing Ghazghkull and actually start doing shit to help the Imperium, such as saving worlds and launching more crusades. Overall, Guilliman was pleasantly surprised with how the Black Templars took in their new recruits. There doesn't seem to be much info about how the Raven Guard and Iron Hands reacted to the Primaris. However, Raven Guard are very practical, and they aren't as proud as chapters like the Imperial Fists or Blood Angels, hence I imagine it would have been a bit of a smooth process. The Iron Hands probably would have loved them. A straight up Astartes upgrade created by the most venerated Magos in the galaxy sounds like a wet dream for the Iron Boys. But yeah, as I said, not much to go on here, but considering both Raven Guard and Iron Hands are confirmed to be using Primaris, I'm
gonna keep it real, bro. I like the Raven Guard, bro. Maybe it's just me. I mean, at first I thought they were just turn around and die. I thought they were just, out of the loop, far from everybody, just emo type ish. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of like the Raven Guard. I'll admit, I guess you can see I'm a new fan of them.
Easy to make assumptions. The White Scars accepted their Primaris without issue, and they welcomed the extra firepower.
Bro, hey, does anybody have a video on the White Scars, bro? Like, we know who the White Scars is, but we don't really know too much about them, or I don't.
One high-ranking White Scar was actually so impressed by them that he went to the apothecaries and got them to turn him into one. The thing about Primaris is that there are multiple ways to accept them into your chapter. If you love them, then bring them in and seamlessly integrate them into every aspect and rank, like the Ultra Boys did. If you're happy to get them but feel like they're unworthy, then put them all in a lower rank until they prove themselves, like the Imperial Fists and Space Wolves did. If you don't like Guilliman's Primaris, but you like the idea of being able to turn your Firstborn Marines and new recruits into Primaris, then use the new Primaris you're given as cannon fodder whilst you build up your own Primaris that are recruited from your own stock. It's implied that the Space Sharks did this. At the end of the day, you had to accept the Primaris in some capacity, otherwise the Custodes would murder your ass. Custodes don't fuck around. They genocided an entire new Primaris chapter because the Primaris disagreed with the Custodes and talked back to them. As most of the meetings between Primaris and parent chapter are discussed in each Space Marine's codex, and GW seems to really struggle getting codexes out in reasonable timeframes, we don't yet have the clear picture of how many—
Hey, I know, let's be real. I know this is I know he can just discombobulate me. Pause. I know he can just ruin my guts. Pause. But I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. His look, this is like a Custodian, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. This is hard. This is actually what you call fashion, like just fashion.
Any chapters react.
Fire.
But if I've missed out on any notable ones, then chuck them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video,
shout out to our boy Majorkill, man, for this video. We gotta learn more about a lot of things. I mean, I know you guys think that, like, you know, that whenever we react to these lore videos that I pretty much know everything. I don't. We gotta learn more about the White Scars. We gotta learn more about some other people as well. We got a lot to learn, but at the same time, you know, I'm gonna still try to, you know, crack my jokes and entertain you guys while I learn, you know, because I think that's what I'm good at. Other than that, man, right now I'm live on Twitch, man. Make sure you guys come through, and yo, my Twitch link will be in the description down below and the comments down below. So make sure you guys, you know, just tap that, and I'm gonna be on Twitch live streaming playing Batman Arkham Knight. If y'all would like that, make sure y'all come through. And by the way, I got a really funny video coming up right after this, so make sure you guys stay tuned. And if you guys are not, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel because it's absolutely free. You don't need, you don't even need to pay a dime to subscribe, yo. It's free 99, bro. Yo, it's 99 cents times 0. Yeah, it's 0, okay? Quick maths, you know. Other than that, man, I'll see you guys later. Fixing them out, and peace out.